What's up, Ty? How you doing, man?
Great, how are y'all doing?
Great, man. You talked about job not finished, which is obviously one of Kobe Bryant's famous quotes. Was that a mentality that you guys developed early on in the season, and you could just now, everybody else is now witness to it as far as the success that you guys have?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get
We
started.
kind of took
Alabama
that,
Media Day. 45
you know,
minutes.
after the Florida State game of just, we got a lot of ball left, a lot to prove. That's kind of been our mindset all season of job's not finished until, the very last game of the season. And that's, our plan and our mindset going, into every game that we're not going to end until January 19th. So.
What is it about Kobe Bryant that inspires you so much? And what is it about just not only the talent, but just what he's been able to have success?
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Kobe and MJ and Brady, just because of their mentality. I mean, Kobe's, famously not only for basketball, right, but his mentality, the Mamba mentality. As a quarterback, I think is very important, right, just to have that Mamba mentality of, coming in and not, caring about anything except winning. And, I think that's what the great ones do so well.
When you look at this Indiana team defensively, what are some of the challenges that they present to you all that you're going to have to make sure you stay on your point?
Yeah, one, how disciplined they are. Literally, they, rarely mess up. It's quite impressive. Two, how well they play together. Everybody does their job very, very well, and that's why they're, very high on the defensive statistic of the ball. And then three, just, how hard they play. Their guys are flying around. Like, there's always, one or two or three, four guys at the ball. And it's, really, really impressive what they do so well. So, hats off to them.
Ty, are you more inclined to be back in Alabama in 2026 or move on to the pros?
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it much, to be honest with you, just because of the big game coming up. So.
Ty, what were you listening to your headphones coming in? And also, I want to ask about starting fast from Coach Grove. Said that's got to be an emphasis for you guys. How do you guys do that?
Yeah, so I was listening to Morgan Wallen coming in. This is kind of my go-to. Listen to him all the time. And yeah, Coach Grove says it all the time, right? And Coach DeBoer emphasizes it of just starting fast. Not waiting to the second quarter like we did last week. And it just starts with doing our job. Just everybody does their job, and we communicate well. We'll start fast, and we'll get things going.
Hi, how excited are you playing Eagle?
Yeah, I'm just super excited, super blessed. God's, put me here and our team, and it's been a dream come true. Thought about this when I was a kid. All the memories, all the the granddaddy of them all, as they say, for this bowl game. So the opportunity to play is a dream come true.
Can you talk about the journey, just being able to get here as a team?
Yeah, it was hard. Not only for my journey, but as a team in general. Didn't start off the year as we wanted to. Everybody, like I've said, counted us out. And just the resiliency this team has showed, my teammates, and everything that we've had from adversity. And not just that, but the good ones as well, right? The good wins. It's been fun, and I'm excited to keep it going.
Ty, for the guys that stuck around in 2023, like yourselves, is that game of motivation heading into this one to win the Rose Bowl game? You guys think about that game?
Yeah, absolutely. I think about it all the time. Just how we felt in the locker room, how it ended, and just thinking about all the scenarios of the game to where we should have won and should have put it away. So I think back to when we just got back and put in the Rose Bowl game, and we told the guys, we had a team meeting, the guys who remembered it, of making sure that it doesn't happen again, and just having that mindset of doing your job and enjoying the process.
We've heard you're into Legos. What are your favorite Legos that you've built, and how does that help you kind of unwind away from football?
Yeah, so my favorite ones, I had Stark Tower, which was, it took me about 3 days to do that over spring break, so that one, and then I have The Office. I think The Office in a glass case. Those are my two favorite. And I really enjoy it just because it gets me away from football, and it gives me stuff to do with a structure about it. And not only that, but I can put it up and use it as a decoration or something like that. So I love Legos, honestly. So it gets me away from football and just gets my mind off of things.
What stands out to you when you watch Fernando play quarterback?
Yeah, so I hadn't really watched him, like in depth. I'm sure like Kane and the defensive guys, but I've seen some highlights. One, how tough he is. I've seen some see some crazy hits that he's taking when he's in the pocket or moving. And two, you know, I remember watching the Penn State game and just how poised he is. You know, he's a big guy, so being able to take all those hits and then, you know, getting hit again and then throwing a game-winning touchdown is pretty impressive. So hats off to him and everything he's done this year.
What do you think of Indiana, this team in general, with their program and the rise of it?
Yeah, you know, as a coach's son, you know, I understand how hard it is to, you know, rebuild a program. But you know, the job that Coach Signetti has done, and the players have come together and played for each other and him has been remarkable. You know, everybody wants to talk about how you know, they went from, you know, I guess a losing record to, you know, making the playoffs 2 years in a row. It is very impressive and remarkable, honestly. You know, the turnaround they've had, just how, you know, disciplined they are, and I know, you know, Coach Signetti talks about, you know, Coach Saban a lot, so I'm sure the values and principles of the program is very similar to Alabama. So, you know, hats off to their, you know, coaches and AD and everything they've done, but also the players as well.
What's it like going up against a team like that with all the momentum, all the attention?
Yeah, it's what you want, honestly, right? Like, you know, we talk about, you know, having our backs to the wall, being an underdog, and it's crazy to think that, you know, in 2025 that Alabama is, you know, thought about it this way. But, you know, we kind of embrace it as a team. I do, especially, just because, you know, everybody, like I said, kind of wrote us off and didn't expect us to get here. So, you know, the point of proving people wrong is what we want. So, you know, we're all here for it, and, you know, just definitely lose and cut it loose.
Ty, the win against Oklahoma, did that reaffirm the team's resiliency and toughness of this ball club?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I know the week before the SEC championship, you know, we didn't put our best foot forward. And everybody knew that due to the circumstances, but that's not an excuse. So, you know, we had to, you know, prove people wrong again. And so, you know, all the noise of, you know, just us not being a good team, us not being tough, us, you know, shouldn't be in the playoffs, right? Like, it made us feel some type of way. And then we come out with a win, and then it's the same thing, you know, this week, like being an underdog and, you know, playing against the #1 team, right? Like, you gotta love that. That's you know, why you play college football, why you come to the University of Alabama.
Quarterback, I don't know how much you watch it, but you know that knows it, just respect you have for it and what he's able to do this year.
Yeah, I said it earlier. I hadn't watched him in depth at all, but I've seen some highlights of it. You know, just how tough he is, how big he is, and how poised he is. And then, of course, you know, I know he's like a double major at not only at Cal, but, you know, at Indiana. So I'm sure he's super smart. Never met him, but, you know, a Heisman Trophy winner. Like, ton of respect to him. And everything he's done, and I think I saw something to where his brother plays for Indiana as well, which is, you know, I think is really cool. I have a little brother as well who wants to play college football, so I wanted the opportunity to play with him. But seeing those guys, you know, family being on the same team is, I think, really cool. So. You know, one, how tough they are, and how disciplined they are. You know, they rarely mess up. Everybody knows what to do, and they do it very well. Two, you know, how well they play together. Everybody has their spot, and everybody, you know, knows where to go. And three, how hard they play. You know, there's always multiple guys, you know, running to the ball. And, you know, they rarely give up, you know, where they're guys across the field or anything like that. Like, there's always, you know, multiple guys, you know, trying to get the football, trying to get it out. And that's why they're, you know, statistically you know, one of the best defenses in the country. So, you know, we got to be on our P's and Q's, got to do our job, and, you know, go have fun. Yeah, you know, I remember that game and just, you know, having opportunities to honestly put it away. I mean, we just never did. And then we, you know, had a chance in overtime to win, and we didn't. And just, you know, remember feeling that type of way in the locker room of just, you know, everybody upset and sad, knowing that we had a chance to go and win it. And then, you know, the team that we, you know, win against won the championship. So, you know, it made us feel some type of way. And you know, I'm very grateful for my time sitting behind Jalen and learning from him, and him being a mentor for me and showing me all different types of stuff and how he prepares and what he does. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for sitting behind him and Bryce. So I thank them all the time. Yeah, that's kind of how it's been all season, honestly. Just with how we started off the season, of losing that first game and everybody questioning us and not knowing if we're a good team or not, and writing us off, like I said. So being able to prove everybody wrong and have a little adversity is what we want. And being back in the corner, most people, if you get back to the corner, kind of sit down and don't fight. But these guys and this team are fighters, and we're going to do everything we can to fight and claw and get out. And that's what we've shown through our schedule, through the season. And here we are now, in the Rose Bowl, playing against the #1 team in the country. So very excited.